What you're about to watch are clipped highlights from round number 2 of the historic road racing championship, the 2 hours of Spa-Francorchamps. Links to the full broadcast from SimplyRace will be in the description of this video, alongside information about how to join our next round. Thanks as always to Just Race for the server hosting and SimplyRace for the broadcast. But for now, I'll kick it over to Ada Millward, lead commentator for the excitement that was the 2 hours of Spa.
Our sim racing time machine takes us back to the beautiful Ardennes forest, circa 1966, for round 2 of the historic road racing championship, organised by GPLaps and brought to you by the fantastic folk at SimplyRace. This will be a 2-hour drive on Belgian public roads with a bit of a twist. It's the Spa-Francorchamps you know and love, but not quite as you know it. This is the old 1966 layout. 4+ minutes a lap for 2 hours. Now this is going to be a lot of fun, and to take you through the fun will be me, Ada Millward, and this week I've got some assistance in the form of Mr. Zach Sweeney.
Oh no, yes, Spa, it's, well, you can't exactly have a historic championship and not come to Spa-Francorchamps, can you? But yeah, no, pleasure to be here this week.
This is the overall Drivers' Championship standings, which will then get divvied up into class sort of points as well. As you can see, Jake, GPLaps, Richie Axelson, whatever you want to call him, he is currently top after winning that race at Longford from Yanni Simic. So it's basically the top 6 from Longford. There we go, the 5+ litre Drivers' Championship standings, which is basically the top 5 from that class. And then we also have 3 litre Sumrajasu leading the 3+ litre Drivers' Championship standings. And what's great about the 3 and 2 litres is that they can mix with each other as well, which you'll see in a moment when we actually get into the race. But Frank Godrecki, who can't be here today because he's doing some real world racing in his home country today, so very best of luck to him. And then we've got the 2 litre Drivers' Championship standings with Jake Britton leading that, and Reese Gardner, Southpaw racer himself, there in 4th position after a late splash and dash dropped him down the order. So as we are underway by the looks of things, and somebody's decided to do their victory donuts right at the start of the race.
Everyone going very slowly. I'm not entirely sure if we are actually underway because it's just that Constantina effect of everyone bunching up. But yeah, we can see this is actually Sean Leclerc in that 133. So maybe he's getting a bit confident. You know, he wants to spice things up a little bit towards the start.
Yeah, Timotej Andonovski trying to. That's actually who he actually is. He's racing under an alias. He's probably trying to warm up his bias ply tyres in the most efficient way possible. He's going to blitz his way back to the front of the field. I mean, that Ferrari is just absolutely rapid. But at the front, it's actually Juanmi Costa who's leading from Enzo Fazzi right now. Simicic in 3rd, Hillebrand in 4th, and Scooby in 5th. And just it's all about momentum and speed as they go through Burnhamville, almost side by side. Just trying not to end up in one of those fields where there's a lot of cows that could potentially ruin your day.
Yeah, you've got to be careful, and they're probably going to run single file for a while because you do have to pick your moments right. As we showed, the margin for error is so small, and of course you don't want to battle too hard too early because you want to try and break away from the patch. They've got Yanni Simic right on their tail, and it's so much more difficult to deal with 2 other cars than just the one. So maybe for Fazzi just to sit behind might be the better option, or to get through quickly. You can see he is pulling to the left hand side, is going to try and get the move done with the slingshot, because obviously the long straights here do lend itself well to just tucking in the slipstream, pulling out, and he has probably got himself a nose ahead, but Costa's going to come back at him. And this is probably going to be the thing that we see for the majority of this race, people just using the slipstream to find a way through, and then people being overtaken can't really have much to say about it. This is Kasper Stoltz, who at the moment is leading the 3 litres by is that margin right? 6.8 seconds? Because if so, fair play.
Well, Kasper Stolzer is also a staple of R Factor 2 League Racing, so that does sound about right. There appears to be a huge pile-up of some description at the start, as Kasper Stolzer leading there. I believe that is Jake in behind him in the faster class, so I'm assuming at the start Andonovski and Jake may have had a coming together. Skari Kantonen driving the Maserati because of the way the mod is. They're using like a fake name, so that Mazzatini, that's going to be a Maserati, as see ya. just passed him like he wasn't even there.
Of course, they have the overall championship, but for their, inter-class championship as well, as we see Jake Britton on the back of Sizek to get into second place. A bit of contact between them actually as well. That is going to be very dangerous in cars as twitchy as these. They go under the brakes and trying to push forward, and there goes Jake Britton up into second place in the 2-litre class. But that's the thing though, in your own individual championship, you don't really want to get stuck up in a fight with some of the higher classes, because what does it matter to you for your own championship? So that's going to be something on the minds of these guys, and how hard they fight between classes. So yeah, there's obviously a lot of cars. I think we had 39 entrants, and it can get quite busy, as the start proved.
Close right in on the back of the 2 leaders now, so we might have a 3-way scrap for the lead, but there's Nico Hillebrand getting closer as well, just 1.5 seconds off this leading pack as they go through the Master Kink, just over 11 minutes, or 10.5 minutes into this race.
Yeah, they're not waiting around to get spicy, are they? Fatsi leads from Costa, and then of course Simincic. And it'll be interesting to see if Hillebrand can get involved. Simincic looking to the right-hand side, so it'll be interesting. We'll give him the inside for the next corner. Let's see, he has managed to just catapult himself in front. Bit of a lock-up as well, just in front. So yeah, just utilising the slingshot effect. And honestly, at this point, these moves don't mean much. They've still got a long way to go in this race. So, if they can stay close with the slipstream, it'll be a game of chess towards the end of the race. The final sort of, 10, 15, 5 minutes, sort of that sort of area of when you can position your car well enough to be tucked up behind someone on that sort of the last couple of laps.
Well, we did say before the race started, and when they were doing the hot laps and things like that, that the Ferraris might have the advantage here because of the fact that the Jags can't use their braking ability as well as they could at Longford. But we also had the sort of the accident that happened at the start, where we got Timotei turned around and things like that. But these Ferraris appear to be absolutely decimating the field, with Hillebrand just hanging in there at the back of this sort of 4-way scrap for the lead.
He is indeed. Here comes Janis Simincic to the left-hand side and trying to catapult himself into the race lead. Should be a fairly easy affair, you have to expect, as Fazzy does not put up much of a fight whatsoever, and there's just no point fighting it this early on in the race at all, because, again, as I say, what do you gain from doing it? But yeah, no, just pressing on, being consistent, trying to settle into rhythm, really. Of course, we were talking about complacency and not comfortable, but it does help just to be into a nice little rhythm and settle into the car as well, because it just makes things a hell of a lot easier, and consistency will be rewarded in a race like this.
Well, they were going into the Master Kink as Simincic took the lead, so I think Enzo Fatti probably backed out of it ever so slightly, because trying to go side by side through what was probably the most feared corner in the world at this time, he probably just wants to make sure that he makes the end of the race, as Suipami Costa at the back of this group getting back in front of Nick Hillebrand at the bottom right-hand corner. This is the 3-litre class, basically going like it's the Talladega 500 at the minute.
Having fun with it, just, so close to each other, just going out there and enjoying themselves. This early on, there's not going to be much field spread, and with, as we say, with the slipstream and things like that, it's going to be tough to break the toe and branch away. A bit of side-by-side action just in front of them as well, but again, none of these will really truly matter until we get at least in towards the second half of the race. You can see Simincic being practically pushed Fazzy down that back straight. Yeah, no, he's pulling out all the tricks in the book to try and branch away from the likes of Hillebrand and Costa, who's actually been able to be dropped off the podium by Hillebrand and up into P3 for the 111. But yeah, no, he's pulling out all the tricks. This isn't NASCAR. It's complete other side of the world. But hey ho, if it works, it works, I suppose.
Eduardo Benica here in the Gordini, as Casper Stoltz sets the fastest time in the 3-litre class. Mia Rose 5.5 seconds behind Casper, and Bergier another 5 seconds back from Mia. So very close racing at the minute. Towards the end of Longford, they did start to spread out, but we always had at least something going on. We've definitely got something going on here this afternoon. Benica under pressure from the Mercedes down the hill, just avoiding the car in the pit lane, probably getting some damage fixed. It's been there a while. There's an errant hay bale in the middle of Eau Rouge. Oh, we've hit the hay bales on the exit of Radion. That's not going to be very nice for everybody else coming up behind, because they are going to plough into that if they're not careful. All the cars seem to be okay. Probably maybe a little bit of toe damage, a bit of suspension damage if they hit them too hard. of the guy in the 3 litre class, so that'll be why that happens. As we see a replay, this will be how Nico Hillebrand made it to the front. Looks like he's applying DRS, so the speed of that thing. Maybe a bit of nitro as well down the Master Straight, the Hollowell Straight. He should have that done. Yeah, there we go, just before they enter the Master King, so everybody through there nice and safely.
Carnage that happened at the start, and of course people just not getting to grips with the circuit too well, getting into their own little tussles, but we're still being treated to a nice, I guess, four-way fight here at the front between Hillebrand, Fazzi, Simoncic and Costa. And despite the Ferrari dominance that we were expecting to happen, of course in these early stages too, as we see actually Fazzi going for the move for the race lead, that Jaguar was giving him a nice little fight up there too.
Yeah, it might have been interesting to see if Jake was able to. Obviously there was that carnage fest at the first couple of corners as Nico is coming back, and I think he might actually be streaming this over on his Twitch channel, and he is doing it in a cap and goggles and a polo shirt. He is full on role play in this, and he's probably saying a few unbroadcastable words at the same time, knowing Nico. So it's all a lot of fun to watch, and I'm glad that the Super Serious Esports guys are having a lot of fun as well. Kasper Stolzer from Denmark in the Mercedes 300 SL, just having a nice drive to the shops by the looks of things.
He's loving life at the moment. 6.5 seconds clear of Rose in second place. So yeah, no, he's just hasn't looked back, and that gap hasn't really grown much because we said on the first lap that he'd grown it quite quick, but it's sort of been a stalemate since. But you know, even despite that, to have that big of a gap and how much of a slipstream fest this race is expected to be, and how close a lot of the cars between classes are, especially in our 5 litre between the top 4, yeah, he's done a great job of just breaking that slipstream and branching away
like that. Martin Bayer in the Gordini, the 202. He is stalking the 209. Like I say, all these cars painted in national colours or variations thereof. They don't necessarily have to run the national colours of them. They're allowed to run the national colours of the manufacturer. So, Nico Hillebrand is running a British Racing Green Jag instead of a silver one, given that he's German. You can run the colours of the country your wife's from, or just wherever, as long as you're racing in national colours. As Rhys Gardner sets the fastest time in the 2 litre class, Enzo Fazzi and Nico Hillebrand still duking it out, getting a bit of drift on. Simoncic, oh, that was very close to that road sign. That does not move. Not the race that Timotej Andonovski and also Jake might not want to have. We'll probably get Jake in at the end of the race, given that he's the guy that's put all this on. We'll probably find out what happened to him at the end. Oh my word!
Oh, they don't move, do they?
No, that is suboptimal. As that's Bourgier and Seidler out of the race, so that's going to put Rajasu and co back up there. Martin Bayer into 4th place in that class. So as we were saying, just smacks a wishbone into his own face. That's these guys must have been mental. Stolzer showing as being in the pit lane. That's been up for a while, so yep, that's definitely a pit stop because Mia Rose, the Australian, has just taken over the lead of the 3 litre class here.
That's the pit stops coming through then. So this, only 39 minutes into this race, so they're going to have to take a couple of stops here. The fuel doesn't last very long. Of course, Stolz has been by himself using a lot of fuel and things like that compared to the likes of, I guess, Simoncic, which relative to their class. Oh, that is sideways on the brakes from Benneker going into Wallace's Source, and he's spun it round. He managed to keep it going though, pointing the right way, which is very close. And the 363, lovely stuff. I don't think we have a race in Japan, but certainly these cars would suit it with the way they're going sideways. Again with the pit lane, it is very dodgy. That's making me feel
uneasy, even in a video game.
It's second-hand anxiety. Yeah, you're just like, oof, that's so close. Again, it just gives you that newfound respect for those in real life that managed to do it and come out still breathing.
Just flicking through my. Whoa, that's a dust storm ahead. That was Hillebrand wiping out a sign but surviving. 11 DNFs so far I've just had in my ear, and also from Mr. Ian Monroe in the chat, who's keeping an eye on the proceedings. I'm trying to have 2 YouTube chats, the actual broadcast and Discord up all at once to try and give you an idea as to what's going on. So we're basically eyeballing this. Like I say, it's pretty much like they would have done us. Hillerbrand's gone a little bit wide and lost 2 positions into La Source. Simičić takes the lead. Fazzy slots in behind, and Hillerbrand's going to have to make all those positions back up again. As there's pit stops. Yeah, pit stops for all 3 of them.
Yeah, all 4 of them coming in at the same time too. So yeah, pretty orthodox from them and pretty linear. That'd probably be the theme. So I mean, at least there's no variation between the top 4, which would run the risk of them being a little bit more spread out. Mia Rose is carrying on for quite a while compared to Stoltz, who came in I think a lap or 2 ago. So yeah, no, she's doing a great job of just carrying that car around a little bit more. But yeah, it's nice that the top 4 in the 5 litre class are going to be so close together still for the rest of this race, because with that 4-car train for the race lead going into the sort of the final half of this race and towards the end of that is going to be something to watch. Either way, yeah, no, it looks like that is actually how it is. Yeah, well, he's actually lost the place to Andonovski. Is Andonovski coming to the pit lane? You said everyone in the 5 litre come in.
Yeah.
So that is
Jake
genuine
came in as well.
That is genuine. Andonovski is ahead of Hillerbrand. How has he lost that much time?
We'll have to find out afterwards, won't we?
Not bad at all, as we see Diaz on the back of Rose looking to get themselves up in the 2nd place. And yeah, Stoltz has re-inherited that lead and is
doubled it.
16. Yeah, he's more than that actually. He was about 2.5 times long. It was 6 seconds, yeah. So he's done a really good job and is just dominating this race. In all honesty, of course, again, that could come with a bit of complacency. I'm sure Stoltz isn't one to become complacent or things like that. But when you're going that quickly for this long, mistakes are kind of bound to be made at some point. Let's just hope that they're not too drastic. But as we keep saying time and time again, the margin for error is not very big. All it takes is, a sudden bit of snap, go over a bump at the wrong angle, or approach a bit of traffic or anything of the sort. Yeah, straight away that 16-second gap means nothing.
We're approaching the halfway point of this race. We've just gone under the 1 hour 8 mark. I am rubbish at maths as they go through Lake Carmen. Huge drift from Timothy Andonovski on the exit. Just trying to get himself into the highlight reel. And on their way down towards Burnhamville for another time.
Yeah, just ticking them off. Here we go. Andonovski looking to the right hand side of Hillerbrand, just going to back out of it maybe. No, he's sending it, he's committing. Not quite enough in towards this next right hander, which is probably for the wiser. But yeah, no, they're certainly looking cool while they do it. They're going quick and looking cool, which is probably the perfect combination that you could ask for. Must be, because it's completely dominated by Maseratis. There's no variation, which is a shame, but if it's the quickest car, it's the quickest car. You've got to use it. You can't blame it. Going to take a little bit of a replay. This is the 296 going through Erosion Radion, and off you go, mate.
That was probably the best accident he could have had, because if he'd sideswiped that bridge, that would not be pretty.
No, not at all. Because it's so close to the track, I guess. So that makes sense. That's pushing the limit just a little bit.
Trying to cool the tyres down. Anyway, as that's going to lose him a little bit of momentum, and that's going to be the position for Matthias Estrella there, taking the position away from the Ukrainian. That's just now lost that place. This is Costa. Hits the Armco and almost got some air off the bank, and then ghosted and beached. So that's him done.
It just goes to show again how precise you have to be. And Simičić, I thought he was going to hold it. No, he's not. He's gone straight into the barrier. Has he got a bit of damage to that Ferrari? Maybe not, but he's certainly got a bit of a bruised momentum. Of course, he's going to lose a lot of time to Fazzy, and that could be quite detrimental to his charge for the race win.
It will create a nice close championship if you don't finish one race but then score well at another.
You got to be consistent. Kicking up a lot of dirt. That's Hillerbrand into the word. That is huge.
That was huge.
Big crash. He's still going into the other side of the track as well. That's race over.
That's Jake back into 4th. We just right. Don't tell
extra
him
couple of points.
That. Yep, that's commentator's curse.
Nah, just bad driving.
Massive way.
what happened to Hillebrand going through, just drifted out wide. So did Andonovski, but
followed Timo, didn't he?
Yeah, Andonovski didn't hit the barrier, and Hillebrand, well, not the barrier, the pole, and Hillebrand just went straight into it, and yeah, you go a little bit too far, and bang, and yeah, that is... Oh, is that Stoltz?
Stoltz,
oh my word! Oh my
wow.
word! Stoltz! And oh no, I jinxed this a little bit earlier on as well, didn't I? I said how quickly it can happen. That is Stoltz with this race. Mia Rose is going to inherit the race lead eventually. Wow, it's all kicked off.
Yeah, Mia Rose has just been gifted a race lead. We were talking about one mistake in the lead. I mean, Kasper Stolzer had a huge lead at that point, so we'll have to get a replay of that.
Again, that is 2 major crashes for some 2 top names as well in both this race and the championship as a whole. All coming to blows within this, the span of a couple of minutes, which, yeah, is certainly strange to say the least.
And so Fats is still leading this race by 2 seconds. The gap had dropped under a second at one point. It looks like Fatsy's pulling it back out, but we have to take into account that there might be a little bit of damage on Simoncic's car after that whack he took at Blanchimont or something like that, where he's probably damaged the car on the Armco. But assistant as the 5 litre guys making another pit stop.
Yeah, indeed. And both at the same time. Fazzy came in, well, he jumped a lot of people. He took a really short stop. Let's see if this one's slightly longer this time around. 40 minutes left to go in this race. It should be their final stop if they fill the car to the brim. The main fight for any racing really is amongst those 5 litres, because you look to 3 litres and Mia Rose has got a massive gap over Rujasu, who himself is 10 seconds clear of Beneker and a minute clear of Ladouche just behind. So yeah, I think the big fight's really going to be for that fight for the overall race win in the 5 litre.
And we've actually got some decent racing out of it at the end of it. So here is the replay of the burgundy minty aquafresh car getting a bit of a spin, and
ouch.
Yeah, how are you going to explain that one to the owner of that Beetle?
This is a battle for position here for P7. This is Reese Gardiner on the back of the 304 for P7, and very, very close even after the last about an hour and a half of straight racing. They are separated by virtually nothing, and while it's not for points paying positions, it's certainly a nice bit of pride just to finish 1 extra place up.
Yeah, we've got getting some oofs and ahs in our ears from broadcaster. There's those 2 hay bales just sitting in the middle of the track, but it's almost like flying through those pylons at like the Reno air races, because of the way they are. They just use the racing line to take you through it, but you get a little bit offline. That's going to be a big accident if those things are still deciding that they want to be solid. But I think that might be another position just ahead of them. That red and white car there. Can't see the number on it from this particular broadcast position, but still Reese Gardner chasing down 7th place in class, and I think he's going to take it here. Gets the slipstream, gets out of it. Japanese racing colours by the looks of things on that car. I think the giant circle on the front gives it away. But yeah, that's position. And I think that's Timothej Andonovski closing in his Jag in behind them.
It'll be really disheartening if it was all by himself.
Well, we're about to find out. This is Master Kink.
Oh, off you go.
On the... Oh! Do a barrel roll. Oh, that's not the way to lose it.
We've still got a fight for the race lead between Fazzy and Simoncic in the final 17 minutes of this race. Certainly getting towards the closing stages. Can Simoncic pull something out of the bag, to nurse this damage, get onto the back of Fazzy, and of course make that move stick is going to be the most important thing, because it's one thing to catch, it's one thing to get past, but it's another thing to stay in front as well, especially with how competitive these two have been and just down each other's throats for the last hour and 43 minutes.
Yeah, Fazzy seems to have either backed off a tiny bit, or Simoncic has found more in the car, having driven it around for the last 20 minutes or so. I mean, we've seen it before with Formula 1 and series that use DRS and things like that, that drivers will back out of the slipstream going into Origin Radion, as Simoncic is up the inside now towards the next right-hander. I think this is just going up towards Blanchimont. Yep, it is. So through Blanchimont there. So not a place we've seen many overtakes, to be honest, as they then come round towards the what is now the start-finish line of the... well, maybe not. I called it a bit too early. I think that is still Blanchimont. That my track map a little bit out of date. Cantonen is now ahead of Mia Rose is out.
Oh.
Another race leader in the 3 litre class is out of the race. Rujasu inherits the lead in 3 litre. This is... Stick with this, because anything... We've still got 10.5 minutes left. Anything else that can happen here. So, yeah, we've just lost Mia Rose and Diaz from the 3 litre class standings. So, Rujasu is now the second person in this race. Well, third person to lead the 3 litre class, but is the second person to inherit the 3 litre class lead. And the cars are now on their final lap. Simoncic, second lead from Enzo Fazzi. You'd think that's how it's going to end, unless something really does, befall the leaders. You can see them there. It's been the fight for first place has been a lot closer than it was in the previous round at Longford, but like I say, always something been going on. We've always had something to talk about. Well, I always had something to talk about last time out, but we've both, and myself and Zach, have had something to talk about in this one, as Simoncic is starting to show off now with a bit of drifting towards the end. But still, Enzo is getting closer and closer, and he might be able to have maybe a last-minute lunge into La Source. I'm just going to press X to doubt on that one. He's not close enough. No, so Jone Simoncic comes through La Source for the final time. And gets a kick of oversteer on the exit. It's going to be the closest finish of the season. Then again, we've only had 2 races this season. Jone Simoncic is going to take the win from Enzo Fazzi. And then we're just going to have to wait a bit longer for GPLaps to finish. Checkered flag. Slovenian takes the victory. Rujasu in the 3 litre class. Whereas he's just coming down the hill, so he will take the win once again in 3 litre, so that he is the only double winner thus far this season. And I think Cantonen will have already taken the flag ahead of him, because Cantonen was ahead on track. The gap between Cantonen and Folletto in that 2 litre class, a whopping 51 seconds, while Rujasu takes his win in class.
So then the final results, it was Jone Simoncic just 0.4 of a second ahead of Enzo Fazzi there in the red Ferrari, coming to the finish line neck and neck after 2 hours of racing. I myself finished in 3rd position to round out the podium in the last of the 5 litre cars. It was Askari Cantonen in the 2 litre who finished in 4th position to get the win in class and 4th overall for some great points. Just a little bit up the road from Eliseo Folletto, who got 2nd in 2 litre and 5th overall. Rujasu then finishing in 6th position in that 3 litre Gordini, picking up the class win 2 races running now and strengthening his position in overall points. So in that overall Drivers' Championship, Jone Simoncic leads the way just 1 point over myself, Jacob Desmarais. With that 2nd place finish, Enzo Fazzi pops up into 3rd, just ahead of Juan Mi, who failed to pick up any points after that run-in with the barrier towards La Source. We've had now a couple non-5 litre cars jump into that overall championship, like I said, with Askari and Rujasu, and are likely to see more as the season continues with some of the longer rounds. In the Manufacturers' Championship, Ferrari leads Jaguar, Maserati, and Gordini on the board with that 3 litre class. In the class championships themselves, it's predictably Jone in the lead of the 5 litre, Rujasu holding out with 2 wins at both Longford and Spa to put a handy lead on the rest of the 3 litre group. And in 2 litre, Jake Britton holds on to the class lead thanks to his overall fastest run in pre-qualifying over Silberwolf and Askari, but the championship is quite close. And last but certainly not least, for the Hot Lap Championship, a 4-way tie between Martin Bayer, Nicholas Hillebrand, Jake Britton, and Kasper Stolze. With 2 points on the line for qualifying fastest at Isle of Man, things will be really interesting in that one after the next round. So that's it for round 2 at Spa-Francorchamps. Next up is the Isle of Man for a TT round time trial race, 6 laps against the clock around the formidable Isle of Man circuit. September 17th on SimplyRace. Once again, pre-qualifying kicks off on the 12th, an event which will likely be even more challenging than the one at Spa. But until then, this is GPLaps for SimplyRace, Just Race, and myself. Thanks for watching the Historic Road Racing Championship, and I'll see you all again next time.